If you've ever made a purchase that you ended up regretting, then today's video is perfect for you. And one of the best money-saving tips out there is simply to just think twice before you buy something new. But it can be tricky to know the difference between when it makes sense to make a purchase and when it doesn't make so much sense. So today I want to help you out by sharing 10 questions to ask yourself before you buy something, and these will help you to figure out whether it's a good decision to make this purchase or whether it's better to just leave it in the store or at least take some more time to think it over. Hey everyone, welcome back to Simple Happy Zen, and if you're new here, my name is Vera and I make weekly videos about minimalism, intentional living, happiness and self-development. So consider subscribing if that interests you, and I would love to see you again in my next video. The first question is, how will this thing contribute to my life, or how will it affect my life? And I'll explain a bit more about what I mean with this. Sometimes when we just see something new or when we learn about something new, it can be really easy to get caught up in the excitement because it's all, fresh and exciting and shiny, and it's easy to focus on these things only. And I've certainly been there where I learned about something, a product or a service, and I got really excited and I immediately started to think about buying it. But in the end, everything that we buy ends up having some sort of impact on our everyday life. And some may be very small, but others may be a bit bigger. And these are things to consider before committing to making a purchase. For example, after the initial excitement wears off, some things can continue to cost money in the form of maintenance or upkeep or monthly payments, and things can even add to your debt in that way, or something that takes up a lot of space and ultimately becomes clutter in your home. Or something else that I find even more important is that it can add to your to-do list, even if it's a silent to-do list, because all our stuff demands our time and attention. So let's say that you bought some sort of hobby item and you think you're going to use it all the time. That means that there's an extra task in your mind that you need to check off. And every time that you don't really use it, it can also become some sort of feeling of guilt, like I spent all this money on this item, but I'm not really using it that much, etc. And of course, if something is a really small purchase that you're thinking about, then this question may be a little bit too big for it. But for most things, it can really help to just take some time to think about how this will affect you in the end, in the long run, after the initial excitement wears off. And take some time to list both negative and positive ways that it might affect you. And if after asking yourself this question, you still think that this item can bring you lots of positive things, then great. And if not, then it may be better to leave it or just wait some more and think it over. Question number 2 is, will this add value to my life? And this is a very broad question, so you could also think of it like this. Does it serve either a clear purpose, or does it bring me joy, or possibly even both? And this is a great question because it helps us to kind of weed out all the little reasons that may be playing a part in us wanting to buy something, and if these reasons are actually going to make us happy in the end. Because there are a lot of options, like wanting to buy something to gain approval from others, or wanting to fit in or look a certain way. So this question can help us to just tune in and see, why do we even find us wanting this item in the first place? And is it because we expect to get any real purpose out of it or real joy out of it, or if there's something else going on? And then question 3 is kind of a follow-up to this question, and that is this the best option for that expected purpose or joy that we want to get out of it? Because sometimes there's another option available that's cheaper or easier, or even something that we could make ourselves. So for example, if you are allergic to something in your home and you are looking at one of those things that kind of cleans the air and removes pollen and stuff, then that's a clear purpose because it can help you to relieve your allergy symptoms. But maybe there are also some things out there that you haven't considered yet, or that you haven't tried yet, that do just as good of a job, or that you can do yourself. So for me, I'm very allergic, and I was looking at one of those products and I was seriously considering buying it and investing that money in it. But then I found that there were also some things that I could change in my home that I hadn't tried yet that could also work. So I did all those things, and I also invested in some new sheets and pillows and stuff for my bed that were hypoallergenic, and they were still very expensive, but they were a lot cheaper than that air cleaning product that I was looking at. And they do a really good job, and my allergies hardly ever bother me at all anymore. Or maybe you could just as easily make something yourself, or find another product that is cheaper but still has a lot of great reviews from people. So is this the best option for that expected purpose or joy? Next question to ask before you buy something is, what are the actual costs and can I afford them? In a lot of cases, there may be some kind of hidden costs involved that we didn't really take into account initially when we got the item. And then after a while, we realize, it's getting to be more expensive than we would have liked, and then we're kind of stuck with it. So things to look out for here are monthly fees. So maybe there's a subscription, maybe there are maintenance costs or upkeep. A car is a really good example of that, but there are a lot of also other items that require regular upkeep, or even things like if you buy an espresso maker, then take into account the costs for the coffee that goes into it. So do a quick calculation, how many cups of coffee do you drink per day? If there are other people in your family who drink coffee, and how much will that cost you a month, for example. And even if you think about getting a pet, then take into account the costs for the food, the toys, the medical costs, etc. So before you buy something, just take a moment to ask yourself, are there hidden costs involved? Or is there some sort of scenario possible where this will end up costing me more money? And if so, can I afford that? Question number 5 is a classic, but it's a good one, and it is this a want or a need? And I'm not saying that as a minimalist or someone who wants to live a more minimalist lifestyle, or even if you are someone who wants to save money, that you can only buy things that are needs. But it is a good idea to make that distinction for yourself and just ask yourself why you want to buy something. I always advise to focus more on the needs in the beginning and only get the essentials. Do it sometimes, see if you actually like doing it before you go into buying some of the wants, so that you don't end up spending all this money on something, diving into something, new hobby for example, and then you find you don't really like it anymore and there's all that stuff just going to waste. The next question to ask yourself to prevent buying something that you end up regretting is this item high quality, and will I get a lot of use out of this, and will it last me a long time? As a minimalist, I'm a big believer of quality over quantity, and high quality doesn't always mean you have to go for the most expensive item. In my experience, good quality does usually cost a bit more than really low quality, but after a certain point, I find that the quality doesn't always go up with the price. So really just do your research, read reviews, see what people have to say, so you can get the best price-quality ratio. And then another part of this question, if this item is high quality and if it will last me a long time, do I also still see myself using it after all this time? So do you see yourself still loving this item a year or 2 years or 5 years from now? Question 7 is, am I supportive of this product or store or brand? And do I want to support them with my money? And this question always helps me to be more conscious of the effects that my choices of consuming will have on the world. The way I see it is that we as consumers have a lot of power, and every euro or dollar or currency that you have in your country that we spend is kind of like a vote. And with that vote, we are basically saying, hey company, here's some money, I like what you're doing, keep doing more of it. And so what I want to ask myself is, do I want to support this company like this, or do I prefer to give my money to a company that is more ethical, more mindful, or that just has a more positive impact on the world? And here I'd like to give a quick shout out to Organic Basics. They sent me this shirt that I'm wearing today, and I support them because they make ethical and sustainable basics and underwear. I have been asking this question number 7 a lot with my clothing purchases lately, because the fast fashion industry is in the top 5 most polluting industries in the world. And so companies like Organic Basics that are really trying their best to make a positive difference, I can really get behind. So far, I've used some of their underwear, different shirts and tops, and also their leggings, and they are very nice and comfortable. I wear them all the time, and they're just very high quality. They will last you a long time, so I'm very happy with them. They cost a little more than your average fast fashion brand, but that also means that they are produced ethically and sustainably, and they also use a special kind of fabric that makes it so you don't have to wash them as often, which is also again better for the environment. If you're interested, maybe for yourself or as a nice holiday gift for somebody, then I have a link in the description box with a 10% discount code that you can use, and it's an affiliate link, so by doing that you will also be supporting my channel. Question 8 is very simple but very effective, and that is, do I already own something else that I could use? So sometimes we see something in the store and we think, oh, this is really handy or nice, or I could use it for this or that. And we kind of forget that we might already own something very similar, or that we could use something else that will work just as well. And I also find that this happens with clothing a lot. So we may see a nice item in the store and we forget to think that we might already own several similar items and we don't really need that extra one. Question number 9 applies to when you're shopping for clothing specifically, and it works very well if you ask yourself this and answer honestly. Does this fit me well, and does it make me feel confident? Because sometimes we may see an item on a mannequin or even on someone who works in the store, and we think, oh, that looks really great, and then you try it on and you're like, it's not the best fit. And that's normal. Everyone has a different body type. What works really well on someone else may look weird on me, and vice versa. So it's easy to kind of look the other way because the item is so cute or you want it to look good, but really take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror or in the fitting room and ask yourself, is this the perfect fit for my body? And because if it's not, then you know, even if you end up buying it, it will end up somewhere in the back of your closet because you're not going to be wearing it often. And then the last question for today, question number 10, applies to when you're shopping for something that's on sale. And this question really helps to determine whether you want it for the item or whether you want it because it's a good deal. And that is asking yourself, if this item was full price, would I also buy it? So is this item also worth the full price to me? If the answer is yes, then great, and you also got a good deal, so even better. And if the answer is no, then you probably just didn't want it enough or don't value it enough, and you're simply just getting tempted because it's on sale. So I'd love to know, do you also have a question like this that you always ask yourself before you buy something? And if so, what is that question? So please share it in the comments because it may help inspire others as well. And please give this video a thumbs up because that really helps me out. It supports the channel. And as always, questions, comments, conversations down below. I wish you all a lovely day and I'll see you next week. Bye bye!